Welcome back to the studio, my fellow creatives. This week we're going to turn this and this into this and this. My favorite Eco Resin piece of all time. Let's get started. In the last project, I made these adorable Eco Resin birds, kind of an antique faux design in mind, and I made a couple of gorgeous little pendants too. And this week we're going to apply that same technique into a larger project, and I'm going to make some trinket dishes. I got this mold off of Amazon. I will be sure to link everything down in the description below the video. And you'll even get a 10% off discount on ResinCrete if you want to try it for yourself. Go to their website and just use the code TAMS10 if you want to try to give this a go too. It's so much fun. You'll need a measuring scale, of course, your Eco Resin and water, mixing cups, and if you don't want to get the powder all over you, some gloves and a mask would be a good idea too. They do claim that this is non-toxic. I have not had any reactions to it, and it's been a really pleasant, clean, non-smelly, non-sticky, fluid medium to work with, and it cures in 30 minutes. It's amazing. I also ordered these adorable honeybee flower kind of vintage vibe napkins that I'm going to decoupage onto these. I begin measuring out 300 grams of the powder to 90 grams of water. And I don't want it to be stark white because I want to kind of make it match my napkins. And so I add some acrylic sand paint to it, just a few drops to take away that stark white appearance. You've got about 8 minutes to mix this up and begin pouring it before it starts to set up. Doesn't seem like a long time, but it's never made me feel rushed. Just make sure you have everything ready to go. Slow and steady wins the race. Pour your Eco Resin slow, giving it time to release the bubbles. Don't forget to wiggle and jiggle that mold as you go to help release more bubbles. At this point, I realized I mixed just short of what I need, so I made up another 50 grams real quick. I didn't even add any pigment to it because, again, my other first layer is already starting to set up. So you know now that this mold takes 350 grams of Eco Resin. And now that it's cool to the touch and completely solid, I'm ready to go. Keep in mind, if you pour more, you might need to let it cure a little longer. If you pour less, a little less. And here we have our first of 2 trinket plates. Now you can see that I've got a little pigment blop in there, but it's okay. I'm going to end up covering this up anyway when I decoupage it. And the back, I'm just going to sand down a little bit of that rim so it's not so sharp with my nail buffing brushes. I love these things. They're perfect for sanding down your Eco Resin. I have baby wipes and alcohol wipes on hand at all times, and I take a baby wipe and I just clean off all of that powder. Again, to be safe, you could wear a mask while you're sanding so you're not inhaling any of the powder. I went ahead and bought some of J. Dixon's Eco Resin Sealer, and I'm going to give that a go. I want to put a nice seal down before I start Mod Podging, and I kind of just want to see how it looks on the plate for future reference. I love the subtle gloss that it has, like a porcelain or ceramic. Now that I'm putting my napkin up to the plate, I'm realizing the pigment tone isn't quite what I'm after, so I'm gonna have to pour a second plate. But I do have these other napkins that I've used on those Easter bunnies, and it matches this plate perfect. It'll blend right in for my Mod Podge. So we're gonna go with that. But stay tuned because the honeybee plate is the best thing I've made so far. I put my Mod Podge down, I start in the middle, and I start to spread it out. I'm very new at Mod Podging. I'm no expert. So if you have any tips or tricks, please put them in the comments below because I am learning. And this first one you can definitely tell was a learning process. And then I decided to grab the wrap that the napkins came in so I could get a really nice smooth gliding motion, but I was getting bubbles everywhere and it was super annoying. I went ahead and continued working this, trying to press out the bubbles. Then I got my embossing heat gun and I started to heat it up, hoping that that would help, and it did. It helped the bubbles dissipate, although after a while they would start to pop back up and I'd have to heat it up again. But I go ahead and trim the edges, and then using my water pen, I trim off the rest of the edges. The water pen helps it just kind of disintegrate. You can pull it right off. And then I use Mod Podge to blend the edges back into the dish. To do a final seal on this, you can use triple thick gloss and glaze. You can just use more Mod Podge. You can use acrylic sealers. You can do all kinds of things. But for me, I just love the way that the UV resin looks. You could use epoxy resin, but again, I'm impatient and I don't want to wait 24 hours for it to cure. So I'm just going to put a really thin coat of Let's Resin's UV Resin Hard Type. This is my favorite one. On there, rub it around with my hands till I get a nice even coat. And then I just take my UV nail light and I just do the hover for about, 3 minutes. And here is the end result of this first little trinket plate. I feel like it kind of has that Little House on the Prairie kind of vintage cottage core feel. Oh, and by the way, for all of you that are asking how sturdy is ResinCrete, I don't want to drop my plate on the floor, although I'm pretty sure it would survive the fall. But here's a little bit of a knocking test for you. It's pretty sturdy. One of these days, maybe I'll make some coasters and I'll do some demolition on them. Together we can find out just how sturdy this stuff is. I went ahead and poured a second plate using a different pigment. Every time I demold one of these, it gives me an adrenaline rush because I cannot wait to see what it looks like. It's like Christmas every day. And it feels like a smooth ceramic or porcelain. It matches my napkin perfectly, and it is going to blend right in with the idea I have in mind. I'm going to go slower this time. I'm going to just start in the middle of the napkin. I'm going to push that out and then let that dry before moving on to my edges. And guess what? This time, no bubbles. It looks perfect. It looks like it was made and printed in the plate. Now, I don't like that there's kind of a solid line, and I want it to look more organic because the plate's got that cool organic wavy edge. And so I take my water pen and I just start scraping out the bits and pieces that I don't want and Mod Podge it down, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, I think it does. What do you guys think? So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and seal the whole thing with the ResinCrete sealer. But when it dries, the paper part is still a little rough. So I get out my UV resin again and we go at it and we give it a final seal. back at it with the UV light, and here is the end result. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Am I crazy? Is this the cutest thing? I wish I could make salad plates out of this and we could use them as dishes. It's so cute. But in the meantime, what a perfect gift for someone. In the end, it looks like a fired glazed product, but it's not. It's a hack. I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I hope that I've inspired you to create something too. We'll see you next time.